So at 5:30, the people who are left around are wondering how they're still here. And I understand from Joe's that the next session is the VC session. So these are guys who need your money. Well, having said that, first thing is I wish I'd met Mr. Vijay a bit earlier because we're currently in the process of doubling our facility in Bangalore. What's taking almost about 8 to 10 months. I wish we'd met him earlier. We'll finish this up in 3 months' time. A bit about what I want to say to you in the next 7-8 minutes, I think in context of what TI is and our offerings as a company, what we do in India, and a small impulse from my side. A small clarification to how I've been introduced. I'm responsible for the aerospace business in India, and we'll get to know a bit more about this group as I run through these slides. This is a typical day as we walk into work, where we just zoom in straight into the elements of various aspects of that goes into our business every day. I mean, we just don't need to go through the entire thing, but it just tells you that each of us are so concentrated on what we do that we zoom in. I've also taken the liberty to introduce the commute in Bangalore, which has been widely talked about all through the day. This entire aspect is what we get involved day in and day out, and in a way forget about the large picture, which is what I want to talk about in the context of aerospace and defense. Just to give you a sense what's happening around the globe, we have a backlog of about 15 years just on the pure aerospace civil side. We're not talking about the rearmament that's going around globally across countries, fragmented supply chains, multipolar worlds, so on and so forth. So let's talk about how we at the ThyssenKrupp Aerospace enable this entire industry. For every industry, there are just about 3 facets that go in. It's about materials transformation, and very clearly about products. And this is what I think many a time we forget as colleagues who work in industry to get a sense of how do we work smartly about. Being agnostic about what we do, about the materials transformation industry, it could be right from horseshoes right up to aircraft parts. It's all about materials transformation and depends on the complexity that you need to be working with. All these elements obviously connected up with what's called as our supply chain. There's no rocket science, everyone knows, and some of you may be wondering, why am I talking about this? Talking just about 3 elements. As always, products could be anything. It could be right from industrial products right up to aircraft, or it could be anything else that you need. And what goes in to make this is the investment that goes into manage this complexity. Yeah? We know about this particular part, about much we talked about through the day, on about value chains, shortage of workers, energy prices, green transformation, the geopolitics associated with it, and obviously the way systems are shaping from horizontal to vertical or vertical to horizontal depending on the nature of the day based on tariffs, so on and so forth. Yeah, so obviously the question is when we see all this, we say, hey, how the hell do we prioritize? Let us see how we do it within ThyssenKrupp Supply Chain Solutions. That's the organization that we belong to. And it's a wider part of the large organization of ThyssenKrupp, which is materials. We have about 5 divisions: the material services, decarbon technologies, automotive, steel, and marine systems. Yes, we did have a large presence in steel earlier, but we are narrowing down that element because it's not productive for us to produce steel in parts of the world that we were operating earlier. So I belong to the Material Services Division, one of the largest parts, close to about $16 billion US. The aerospace side of it, the supply chain services works with almost all available industries, as you see over here. So the aerospace and supply chain is spread widely across Europe, US, and other parts of the world, and we are located in India at Bangalore. Our business is about material supply, logistics, and global control towers. I'll talk a little more about what we do. It's about, we take this entire bit, and depending on the needs of the customer, we tend to customize our offerings to them. It's like a Lego blocks. You know, you just take around and see what makes sense, and then you tend to put together various elements of materials, logistics, control towers, and also digitize this entire thing through the cycle. Obviously, this is driven by elements of transformations that are required on account of sustainability, resilient supply chains, and obviously nearshoring where it's relevant. We have a process on which we do this entire thing in terms of how we design, manage, and operate and execute, more importantly. And I'll take you through examples in terms of where we have applied this to some of our customers. I don't need to talk about this. It's about creating a digital twin in many ways. Some of our colleagues have talked about it earlier. We use a lot of toolboxes which enable us to find the right solution which needs to be applied. And as always, it's the value that you create with is all that matters at the end of the day. Reinforcing the fact that we have no options but go digital wherever we do, otherwise we will not be able to cater to the needs of the industry. We talk about traditional supply chains, which are about, as you see on the left, which causes enormous friction and costs across the system. And in our experience, it is about how you go about digitizing this with the right amount of, with the right strategy, which makes a big difference to what you do every day. So some of the companies we have already heard about. We work with these organizations very closely in terms of designing for the needs, be it a Deutsche Kraft, be it Saab, be it Bombardier, be it Rolls-Royce, or Airbus, or Boeing. I think we have been able to apply a wide range of strategies to help these organizations to move forward in the direction that they need. Yep. We don't need to talk about sustainability. It's a very, very important part of what we do, but it's an important aspect of every supply chain that we design and execute. Ramp up is around the corner. I just mentioned earlier about the backlog, which is about 10 to 12 years, and the industry is struggling in many ways to meet the needs of the aircraft industry. Yep. So a bit about India Enterprise. We've established in Bangalore in 2015, that's 10 years ago, currently in the process of doubling our footprint. I think one of the nice things that we did during this process of establishing our organization in India is we were able to build and execute an organization which was very, very strongly rooted in elements of values and integrity in the Indian context. We also enabled circularity and also about how we managed about building the ecosystem when no one was there in aerospace way back in 2015 when we were just seeing small shoots of aerospace with different companies over here. Yeah. More about, if you want to know about what we have done in Bangalore, I would rather take this offline and talk to you because due to paucity of time. I just want to touch upon this slide, which is a little dear to me. And we've all talked, we have heard about the various progress that India is making on maybe the high GDP, digital economy, the physical infrastructure, attracting new investments. We heard about it. But what we have not really heard or been critical about is our operating infrastructure ecosystem, which still is rooted in a very inefficient system. And this is actually the bane of many of our problems in India as we progress. In our direction and aspiration to become what we are, if this is not addressed, I think this will really hold India back. I came across an interesting tweet a few weeks ago, and I'm going to reproduce that to you because it actually captures the essence of this operating ecosystem. It was put out by a very well-known guy, Dr. Rajesh Parekh, which talks about how difficult it is to balance the needs of the industry and the system that is currently there, and how we ought to address two aspects which really holds this entire system to ransom. You could read this for yourself. It's there. It's a little critical. People may not be very comfortable reading about it, but it is what it is. And if we don't address this, I think we will lose the advantage that we have as a country. The innovation which is taking place is great. It helps us to manage the last miles very well, but we ought to fix the system in one form or the other. And though it's an unpopular opinion, I just wanted to talk about it and make people aware a bit more on this front. Yes, while we have been able to build this entire aspect, we have been able to address this very successfully in terms of managing and working with all stakeholders here with the government and other parts that are involved. I would like to understand also from many of you, if you have been able to deliver businesses from ground up to performance in a nice way or plan to do it. I would be more happy to learn from you in terms of how you've done it. It's very, very important because we have to build on this in a very strong way if India needs to succeed in what it's doing. Yeah. So yes, like I said, we have been able to deliver this in a very nice way without any consultants, which is a common practice in India due to reasons that you see on this screen. And what's very clear to me is if we are unable to address these issues, we will not be able to leverage the demographic dividend that we have in India and build what we need to in the best possible way. This has been the malaise of a system, and very clearly we need to be the agents of change of what we are doing over here. Yeah. With this, I just want to give you a quick insight into an organization that we support. It's called the Samarpan Foundation, and it's also known as the First Principle. I would urge you to run through this site when you get the time, where it's really about simplicity in action, where innovation has been grassroots, which has been able to provide fodder in terms of food for all. Read about it. It's as per USRDA. They've been able to build homes out of PET plastic, which is able to withstand earthquakes up to 9.8 Richter scale. It also talks about how you could build forests and, by tapping into dewdrops, which are available around, all around with us. The ability to use nature in a very, very sustainable manner, and more importantly, it's affordable to the weakest and accessible to the weakest of the sections of society all around the world. The inventor is a gentleman called Patrick San Francisco. I would urge you to run through this entire thing. Yep. So great. With this, I would just like to conclude what I needed to say. For those who want to talk more about how and what we do about in India, or how we've been able to support our customers from day one in India in a very, very efficient way, I'm happy to talk about it. We work with almost every aerospace company in the country, supporting them with their needs in the most efficient manner. Yeah, with this, thank you for listening to me. You're an amazing audience. Thank you for the privilege. And most importantly, thank you, Jose. Like I said to Jose earlier, I normally attend TIS sessions only as a listener because there's so much to absorb with this young and exciting crowd and innovations that come in. And nevertheless, Jose insisted that I say a few things, and well, thank you for the opportunity. Yep. Thank you, everyone.